Our
great
first guest, yay, Crystal Williams-French from NIPSCO. Come on in, Crystal. Thank you so much for joining us today. Crystal is a rock star herself, works for NIPSCO, and is actually a member of many organizations, and also been so gracious to join us this year as a member of our development committee. And her experience and expertise is just priceless to us. So welcome, Crystal. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So maybe to start, let people know a little bit about you and what you do at NIPSCO.
Okay. Sure. So again, my name is Crystal Williams-French. I am married for 26 years. As of tomorrow, we'll celebrate 26 years to Aunt French, and we have 3 beautiful children. My youngest just left yesterday, headed to Wabash after taking his COVID test, of course. Yeah, right. So that's our new normal. So he took his COVID test, he'll head to school, and he'll check in and start his sophomore year at Wabash College in Crawfordsville. Then I have a daughter who just in May graduated, or completed, I should say, her bachelor's degree. There was no ceremony this year, but we're so proud of her. And then I have a middle son who's home working full time.
Wonderful.
So we can consider ourselves empty nesters now.
Yeah, kind of, right?
Yeah,
they might be coming back.
Right.
Well,
from time to time they do.
Gosh, Crystal, you should be so proud of them.
I am.
And proud of being married so long. That's a great
That
feat.
That could be a challenge.
Yeah,
but yes.
Every once in a while.
Yes.
So can you tell us what your title is at NIPSCO and what
Sure.
you do there?
Sure. So I'm a billing supervisor for NIPSCO, where we service gas and electric. I have a team of 17 billers at this time. And so my team focuses to make sure that all of the information that comes through our way, what we call exceptions, which is, issues that may, hit the customer's bill before they go out. We try to make sure that those are resolved in a timely manner. We want to make sure that all of our customers are billed accurately, adequately. And so that's what my department do. Work really hard to make sure that gets done. We also do a lot of back office processes, like working with low-income programs. So we work closely with energy assistance agencies, townships. Right. We also do a plethora of other things like contracts and things like that, guaranteed minimum. So we cover quite a bit. Right. So I have a small team, but they're small but mighty.
There you go. Well, and I would imagine,
tough group of folks.
Right, during this COVID time, Crystal, it's really affected you, and you've been on the front lines at NIPSCO and been so helpful to all of us. I mean, to keep NIPSCO running during the initial time had to be scary and difficult and challenging.
It was very challenging, extremely challenging. For one, NIPSCO worked very, very hard, and I'd say NISORS across the board, to make sure everybody stayed safe. So my entire team is working from home right now, and we'll be working from home quite a while. We're going back into phases. So we have a COVID response team who actually monitors and watch closely with CDC and make sure that guidelines are followed. So even though we're not at the office, I mean, my office is still set up where, social distancing and wearing your mask, all those practices are still in place. And even at our corporate office in Maryville, all of those things are still in place. As a matter of fact, at all of our offices, they are. Yeah. So we're extremely proud, and everybody feels safe. There are meetings that are held regularly to make sure that everybody's always up to date on the latest information and feel safe. There's surveys that's gone out to all employees to say, hey, voice your opinion, let us know how you feel, what is your comfort level. So I really appreciate NIPSCO for those things.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you to you and to NIPSCO and all the work you've done, because I don't think people realize, when there's a big storm and the electricity goes out, everyone's but NIPSCO works so diligently and responsibly to keep things going, and thank you really, Crystal.
Thank you, they really do. Before I started, and I've been at NIPSCO now 17 years. But before I started working at NIPSCO, I used to love a good storm because, it was a good time to cuddle up, especially if it was in the evening time. But now I almost hate the storms because the storms come, and I know how hard our guards are out in the field trying to make sure that everybody's power gets restored. So we're at home kind of cuddled up and making sure that, we have our flashlights and things. They're out there in those weather elements, trying to get power back on. And they do a really good job at that.
Yeah, they do. So thank you sincerely from all of us, Crystal. And one of the things we want to talk about today is how much you personally and your family give back to the community and always have been. And I think one of the groups you've talked about was the Greater Michigan City Drifters.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit? I mean, in addition to what you've done for Doombrook, which has been wonderful, and NIPSCO and Unity, and we'll talk about Unity, have done such wonderful things for Doombrook, sincerely, in many ways. But tell us a little bit about the Michigan City Drifters and what's happening there, if you would.
Okay, so Michigan City Drifters is a sisterhood. So it's a group of women, predominantly African American, but it's not just closed to African American. But we've developed a sisterhood. There's a group of us who all have the alike focus. So basically, we are a service organization who, put others before self. So we extremely selfless. We make sure that we are community focused, we're family focused. We just finished up just last week our scholarship program, which we gave out 5 scholarships, I believe it was. And so it was a virtual program. It was really nice. It was my first scholarship virtual program. But, again, that's our new normal. But it was really nice. The kids were grateful. And I don't think the students really care whether it's virtual, as long as they get their checks and it helps them, fund schools, whether they're, going to campus or if they're, studying or, doing online or e-learning, from home. But we did, I believe it was $1,000 scholarship, 2 $500 scholarships, and then some smaller packages for some of our students.
That is wonderful. So you're not only giving back, but you're building the future for our community.
Absolutely. Along with that, what we do is hold scholarship workshops. So we were able to get those in this year, pre-COVID. But what we do is we reach out to our local churches. We reach out to our schools, to the counselors at the high schools, and we gather a group of students. I think this year we had maybe about 4 to 5 sessions, but we find different locations where, the students come and they bring their laptops or their Chromebooks, and, we help them reach out for scholarships. We look at the Unity Foundation's website, and we help them through that process. We help them complete the applications. We make sure that they're completing their FAFSA, if they have any questions, or their parents, because some of these are first generation college students, and we want that process to be as simple as possible because, it's already, it's your senior year and you're trying to get through everything. So we just want to make sure that, we can help in the best way possible because, maneuvering through that information can be
it's
quite challenging.
Right. It feels like a foreign language sometimes.
Oh, yeah. And it's tough. And some students don't go to school because, getting through that part of it is tough.
Yeah. It's very, very tough if you don't have the support that you need, and that's what you provide.
And that's what we provide.
That's wonderful. Now, if someone wanted to join Michigan City Drifters or find out more, what might they do?
Well, we have a Facebook page. You're welcome to join our Facebook page, follow us, and, reach out to us through that measure.
Great. That's great. And we had wonderful conversations with all of us prior to getting on air today about the whole racial inequality issue. And I'm sure that's one of your goals. And how do you help us as a community to become more aware of that issue? And any thoughts on that?
I would say, and it kind of brings another thing that the Drifters has done to mind, and that's our anti-bullying program. Wonderful. And we're trying to work on ways to do that. It all kind of ties in together. But what I would say is that, treat others the way you want to be treated.
Right.
It's just that simple. Because, once you do that, then, you can't be wrong. If you're treating somebody the way you want to be treated, then, you've got it.
Right. Right, and that's great advice, Crystal. One of the things we talked about also was the heaviness of everything that's going on today in our world. Not only our political climate, but the whole COVID thing,
Right.
the racial inequalities, some of the things going around that, right?
Right.
So I think that's great advice, Crystal. What you're saying is take self-responsibility in our own little worlds
Right.
every day to be aware of the just equality for all, let alone
Right.
racial inequality for minorities of any sort.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't, a lot of times, and I will say too, it starts at home.
Yeah.
So, once we're able to get out and we start to teach our, younger kids to, treat their neighbors or treat, everybody the same, regardless of color, regardless of sex, regardless of, their sexual preference. Just to, it would help build a better world. And, once we start with the smaller kids, then it builds up to, everybody else. But adults have to take responsibility too.
Right.
So, when we take responsibility, when our leaders take responsibility, then it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference.
It's great advice, Crystal. Thank you so very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Is there anything else with regard to tips for COVID or NIPSCO or any of the other goals you have with your non-for-profits or that you'd like to mention today?
Sure, there's a couple things. There's one other thing that I do participate in, and I wanted to bring light to that, and that's the Pleasant Hill Missionary Baptist Church, where on Sundays I'm a part of the meal ministry.
Nice.
And we have to-go meals. So basically, you drive and, pick up and go. So we serve hot meals on Sundays between, I'm going to get this wrong, I want to say it's between 11 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
So between 11 and 1, you could stop by the church, you could pick up a meal, and you actually don't even have to come in. You could blow your horn, somebody bring you out a meal, you get that meal, you keep going.
Great. So,
You keep going.
so the Pleasant Hill Missionary Church.
Yes.
And where are you located?
And forgive me for not having that address.
That's okay,
I
but
don't.
kind of where are you?
It's off of Michigan Boulevard,
Okay,
not
okay.
far from the police station.
Oh, well, there you go. Off Michigan Boulevard, not far from the police station. Pleasant Hill Missionary Sundays, meals to go.
Yes.
And
yes.
Is there anywhere they could go online at all to find out more, or no, just know that?
There. You can go online. You can Google Pleasant Hill Missionary Baptist Church online,
Okay.
and there is also a Facebook page.
Oh my gosh.
Our pastor is James Lane Jr., and he has messages there.
Oh, wonderful. Gosh, Crystal. And there are so many families in need, and families in need that never have been in need before. So the service
Right.
you're providing, and you're saying it's a pickup. So boop,
It's a
boop with the
pickup.
horn. And
Right.
So
Get
no
your
fear
meal.
of...
No fear of getting any type of contact with
Yeah.
anybody. You just
Right.
basically pick up and go. We do have a window service or drive up where you can, get out of your car and get the meal if you're able to. But if you're not able to, you don't necessarily have to. We have somebody that takes out. We're all gloved. We're all masked.
Right.
We're all, as safe as
Wonderful.
possible when we're doing the serving.
Well, Crystal, you are
My
just... Yes.
husband is saying it's on 10th Street.
Oh, on 10th Street. Crystal's
Thank you.
husband, thank you, is piping in with it's on 10th Street. We love husbands that do that for us.
Do you accept donations of food?
We do. We do accept donations of food. We do accept donations.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so
Yes.
much. Crystal, what a pleasure. And we are so fortunate to have you and your family in our community and all the work you do, not only in your career, but all the giving back you do. You're quite a role model. So thank you very much.
Oh,
Truly,
thank you.
truly,
Thank you.
Because it's
a
everyday
pleasure.
work. It's a lot of
pleasure.
work.
It's a pleasure. I'll close with this. I know it's just about our time, but we earlier this year the Drifters did a give back, and I know we talked about that earlier earlier today rather, and there was we served probably about 350, at least 350 cars. And
wow.
cars will pull up. It was a partnership with the Unity Foundation. I'm sorry, United Way. With United Way. I have Maggie and Unity Foundation on my mind, but it was a partnership with United Way, One Source, who's a woman-owned business. She's on 20. She's really great. And LaPorte County Food Drive, I think the food bank of LaPorte County,
Yep.
and then some other local restaurants was there too. So we packaged meals, and it was kind of a drive-through service. There was some customers that came through. It was local community that, would say, I never thought that it would come to this.
Right.
And, I had the pleasure of actually interacting with, the customers as they were driving through the line to find out how many was in their household and things like that. And just, that moment, kind of put life in perspective. One, made me thank God of how blessed and fortunate, I am. But then two, to, make me realize that I'm in the right place.
Right.
I should be serving others. I should be giving back. Because there was just so many people who shared so many different stories that, it was fun to be there. It was a humbling experience. But, there was a true underlying message. It was, a wake-up call just to let you know how scary everything was for everybody.
Right.
In spite of everything that's going on. I mean.
Right. So, again, lesson learned is when we're out and about and someone is upset or cuts us off in the car or someone's upset at the grocery store, have a little patience.
Have a little patience.
We don't know what they've gone through.
Right.
And, they may look okay, but maybe they're not. So.
Yeah, at NIPSCO we used to have this thing where, and we still do, but we would talk about grace, when employees, were, not quite getting along. And it was, extend that umbrella of grace because you don't know what somebody else is going through. So not to say that, they're always excused for, any wrongdoing, but just to say that sometimes you just don't know what their story is. And, if this isn't the typical behavior or the usual, just give them, extend that umbrella of grace and move on. And
thank you, Crystal. That should be our theme for today, extending a little grace as we move through our day today. So, Crystal, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want?
No, that's it.
All right, you've been wonderful. Thank you so much.